Udah dah. Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to say thank you for Mrs. Tiasa Putri and all of my friends for coming to my presentation. It's great to see you. It's great to see you all. And let me introduce myself and my partner. I'm Ulayra Hazizah and my partner are Silvi Nur Hidayati and Oktafia Dwi Susanti. Okay, in this presentation, we will discuss about the grammatical function. Mm, The first, we will discuss about the introduction of grammatical function, and then the second, we will discuss about the definition subject of grammatical function, and then the third, we will discussion about the type of grammatical function, and then the last, we will discuss about the definition of direct object, indirect object, and oblique object. Why we must know about the grammatical function? Because the first, to know the meaning of grammatical function, and then the second, to know the subject and the type of grammatical function, and then the third, to know the meaning of direct object and indirect object and oblique object. Again, the first, the definition of grammatical function. The syntactic role played by a word of or phrase in the context of a particular clause or sentence, sometimes called simply function. In English, grammatical function is primarily determined by a word position in a sentence, not by inflection word ending. See example and observation below. The production and interpretation of an utterance act is anchored to the constitutive part of language: syntax, morphology, phonology, semantic, and pragmatics. While syntax is composed of structural units, for instance constituent in traditional grammar, phrases, functional grammar, and generative grammar, group in systematic functional grammar, or construction in construction grammar. It is the linear ordering of the individual part within a hierarchically structured sequence which constitutes their grammatical function. Okay, the grammatical function. The first is subject, and then the second is direct object, and the third indirect object, and the last is oblique object. The subject. Subject is a complex grammatical function. It has some characteristics, and the subject precedes the verb in the declarative statement. For example, this boy built this boy built house. It's agree in number with the verb. It is a compulsory in English structure, and it goes after the preposition by in passive construction. For example, house are built by this man. And then the single word, phrases, and clause make appear in subject position. For example, we like this book. Peter lives next door, and then some workers are on my office, and the art lady living downstairs was a teacher. Okay, in the next slide will be explained by Silvi Nur Hidayati.
Okay, thank you for time. The next is subject. What is subject? There are many kind of subject. Grammatical subject, logical subject, psychological subject. Example 1. The tiger hunt prey at night. Tiger precedes the verb. It it agree with the verb in number, as become clear when it is made singular. The tiger hunt its prey at night. In the active contraction, it is never marked by any preposition. The corresponding full passive clause is prey is hunted by the tiger at night. In the passive clause, the subject of 1. The tiger. Turn up inside the preposition praised by the tigers. Okay, next. The above criteria, agreement in number with the verb never being preceded by a preposition, occurring in the by phrase in the passive are grammatical, and the noun they pick out in a give clause is the grammatical subject of the clause. In the one, tiger refers to the agent. Many analysts consider that the tiger refers to the agent in the passive sentence too, although it is inside the by prepositional phrase and at the end of the sentence. They call the logical subject, by which is mean that in either synthetic construction tiger denotes the agent, or its role in situation does not change. Okay, next. Other analysts maintain that in the passive sentence, tiger no longer denotes the agent but rather the path by which the action reaches and affect the prey. Such argument lead us into a very old and unresolved controversy as to whether language corresponds directly to objective really or whether it reflects a mental representation of the outside world. For the moment, we put this controversy aside, but it will return, or possibly to haunt us. When we take up the topic of roles, all need do here is not the assumption that lie behind the notion of logical subject, and to understand that in any case the grammatical subject non-phrase in a active contraction of English typical denotes and again and agent. This follow from the fact the most verb in English denote action. Next. A third type of subject is the psychological subject. In one, tigers is the starting point of the message. It denotes the entities about which the speaker wishes to say something. Example. Example number two. To E, Fiona hoped to meet the Prime Minister. To B, Susan intends the rich Kaskar. To C, Arthur try to bake a cake. Description. All these examples contain infinitive phrase. To meet the PM, to reach Kaskar to bake a cake. One of their properties being that they have understood subject. For example, Fiona is the understood subject of mean. Uh, Fiona is so to speak doing the hoping, and Fiona is the person who is to do the meeting. And similarly for Susan into P and Arthur into C. Next. Okay. Next, direct object. Direct object. The concept of direct object is as widely used as that of subject and has just as long tradition. Non Nonetheless, it took turns. I'm sorry. Nonetheless, it took turns out to be elusive as with grammatical subject. It is possible to provide criteria for direct object in English. but the criteria do not necessarily carry over to other language, keeping to the active declarative contraction. We can say that in sentence such as the noun phrase, following the verb is the direct object. Next. The direct object, the direct object happens after the main verb. The example, 3A, Lucy broke the cup. 3B, Lisan drove the car. 3C, Martha sewed the bread. Next. And the description, direct object, direct, direct object noun phrase is never preceded by a preposition. In the sentence, Martha chewed on the bread is not direct object, and the entity it denotes is not completely affected by the action of chewing. And the next example, 4E, the cup was broken by Louis. 4B, the car was driven by Alison. 4C, the bread was chewed by Martha. And and the next will explain by Oktafia Dwi Susanti. Okay, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Oblique object and indirect object. Any noun phrase that is the complement of a prepositional phrase is itself the complement of a verb. In 5, to origin, to église, and for the gen are oblique object. Example 5e. Tatiana were to origin. 5b. Magnus went to Anglesey. 5c. Frank bought a piano for Jane. Next. It is difficult to separate indirect object from of adverb of direction. The two can be distinguished on the ground that indirect object noun phrase contains animate nouns, whereas adverb of place contain inanimate nouns denoting countries, towns, and other places. We would expect inanimate nouns now to occur immediately to the right of a verb such as sent in 6 and 7. Next. Example 6e. Lucy sent a letter to Isadore. 6b. Lucy sent Isadore a letter. 7. 7e. The government sent an envoy to China. 7b. The government sent China an envoy. Next. Okay, thank you for watching. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.